everyone, I'm Gloria S. Crump, the Queen of Real Estate with the Coastal Leaders Realty Group. Thank you for joining us this week's Tea and Crumpets, and today we have Brooke Thrasher. She is with Edge Home Finance. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so we're excited to have you, and so tell us a little bit about your title and the company.
So I'm currently the branch manager at our new office in Foley.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. I've been with Edge for about since June of 2024. Prior to that, I've got about 15 years of banking and mortgage industry background. I've kind of played different roles as a processor, a loan officer assistant, and a loan officer.
Well, that's awesome. That's kind of like how when I started out, I started from the bottom up.
Yeah.
So that's good because that way you know how everything works. You know the inner workings behind the scene, and that's awesome. So that means you're very experienced.
You know everything start to finish.
And that is a huge. That I always laugh like at title companies or more. I'm very inquisitive person anyway, so I'm always asking questions because I'm curious how things work, because once you know how that works, you know you can do your job even better. So that's awesome.
And the good thing is it's easier for me to explain to the agents, hey, because I've been a processor, I know the steps from start to finish, so I can walk you through and make you understand and comprehend how everything works, why we need what we need, things like that.
And education makes it, because some people are like, I don't understand why they need this. Why are they asking for my blood type? Just kidding.
Oh yeah.
But it feels like that half the time. So,
absolutely.
That's too funny. So now Edge, like you said, y'all are now in Foley. You're branch manager, but y'all don't just finance properties in Alabama. Y'all actually cover quite many states.
Yes. So Edge is one of the largest mortgage brokers in the U.S.
That's
amazing. Nice.
Yeah.
They are currently licensed in 48 states.
Wow.
And I'm personally licensed currently in 6 states, working on adding a couple more.
So you said Alabama, obviously, Florida, which is great because I'm licensed in Florida, by the way, and then pretty much like Southeast Georgia, Louisiana, Tennessee, and then Montana.
Yes.
I know. Go to Montana?
Well, believe it or not, I know that's kind of weird adding that random state, but so my husband works offshore, and believe it or not, some of the guys that he works offshore does real estate part-time.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, well, it's a good idea to kind of be licensed in some of those states.
Especially down like Louisiana.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm currently waiting on my approval to come through for Texas, which hopefully will be within the next week.
Yeah.
And then I'm also going to add Mississippi to that list.
That's great, because obviously, those states, and I've even met a lot of people from Montana here, believe it or not, they like the beach. They want to get away from the mountains.
Yep.
But, that's great because I've told people in the past, you can help them with their second home here, but then you can also help them with their primary.
Oh yeah. So if they need to get cash out of their primary in Montana to buy a property down here, I can do both at the same time.
That's actually that's awesome. Yeah. That way you're facilitating everything. Everything's being handled correctly and smoothly, and
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, so tell us about some of the types of properties y'all can lend on, because there are some mortgage brokers and banks that won't touch certain things, and
so we'll do your typical, we'll do your residential, investment, primary, second home. We also do mobile homes, so that's good.
Like I said in past ones, I said some people might turn their nose up. I'm like, some of these mobile homes are like $400,000.
Yeah,
and not everybody has that much cash sitting around. So.
Yeah. We also do
you do single wide or double wide?
Both.
That's awesome.
And we'll do the triple wides as well.
I don't even know if I've ever seen a triple wide. I think it's probably pretty big. So that's good.
Some of them are 2-story, believe it or not.
Oh, wow. Learn something new every day.
Yeah, so we'll also do land and lot loans. We do condos and condo-tels, and we also do commercial properties.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Y'all are a one-stop shop.
Absolutely.
And that is great about the land and the lot loans, because I've had down here a lot of people want to either build or, I've got actually several lot listings and land listings, acreage. So is there any specifics on those that y'all look into that might or might not qualify?
So we do not have, the parameters on the lot and land loans are very slim. They'll pretty much lend on anything, whether it's, half an acre up to 1,000 acres. They'll lend on it. Depending on the acreage will determine, the guidelines for it, whether, you got to have this much down or that much and things like that. But they're all pretty much the same. You're looking at 35% down on your land loans.
Okay.
The cool thing is, I just recently did a land loan for a lady who purchased 20 acres here in Baldwin County.
I wish they bought my 20 acres off of Sherman Road.
The cool thing with that loan that I did is the borrower self-employed. So I was able to qualify her off of a 1-year P&L analysis.
Wow.
We were clear to close and closing in less than 30 days.
That's impressive.
Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely one to, especially
with
a P&L. and that was was that also with bank statements or just P&L?
We did get just your typical 30-day bank statements for the personal and the business. But her income and everything was strictly based off of a 1-year P&L analysis.
Wow, that's impressive. So, and that's 35% down.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
that's good.
And the rates are very competitive.
I was just going to ask you, what are typically the rates? Because sometimes they can be higher than if you did a residential property.
They are higher than your typical residential, but our land and lot rates are more comparable when it comes to like your banks and stuff.
Okay.
So you're looking at like 10 to 11% on those. Which, I mean, if you compare that to a bank, they're running about the same.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, you also had some other cool product loans you want to go over that I think are pretty neat and different from our other episodes. So tell us about.
So we have a program. It's called a no score financing program. So what they do is this particular program is based off of someone who doesn't have a credit report.
Okay.
So if they don't have a credit score at all or any kind of credit that they've ever gotten, whether they've gotten a credit card or nothing on their report, like their score is literally a 0.
And that happens a lot of times. Y'all probably see that more so people coming out of school.
Yes, absolutely. So people coming out of school that's never had debt. What they do is they get your interest rate based off of a 659 credit score, and they do require 20% down on that program. But at least it's a program for someone that can go home that don't have a credit score.
Well, yeah, because a lot of times it can take time to build it up. And so that's a great alternative to someone that doesn't have to just want to go out there and incur debt just to get a credit score. So that's awesome. Because I think we've even talked about couple people that we knew that didn't have them, and they had to find the co-borrower, and this is good to know.
Yeah, because you don't have to have a co-signer or anything on on that particular loan, so it's good for somebody who just wants to do something on their own. Yeah, there's options out there.
That's awesome. And then y'all also have some bank statement programs.
Yep. So I know that Baldwin County has a lot of self-employed borrowers, contractors. So we do offer programs, like we have several different
independent contractors.
Yes.
So just so you know, we're not talking about someone in construction.
Right. So if you're 1099 or self-employed, we've got several different bank statement options. Those options can be where we use 12 or 24 month bank statements. They'll do up to 90% loan to value.
Oh, that's great.
And they don't need tax returns. So
it's perfect for
strictly just bank statements.
Yeah.
So what they do is they just take your deposits and average out the income that way.
Yeah.
So, and then there's other products that they offer for self-employed borrowers. They do P&L programs. 1 year, 2 year P&Ls. We also have a 1099 program.
Okay.
So on that is they only require 10% down on that.
Okay.
It's a 1 year 1099 program. You do have to have a 2 year work history, and then there is no PMI on that one.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's actually a really good one. So typically is that interest rate a little on the higher?
It's not that much higher compared to a normal residential. It's going to be probably about 1% higher than your normal residential.
Yeah, and then you can, I don't know, someone would, they could always refinance later.
When rates start going down a little bit lower.
Now, could somebody refinance this in this program too? Okay.
All these
I just
programs,
didn't know if it was like for sometimes they might not do a refinance on that because
luckily these programs do offer refinances.
Okay, good to know.
Yep.
Is there a certain time frame, like let's say I don't think that hopefully they'll drop in 6 months. But sometimes they'll say, "Oh, we don't want you to refinance in 6 months." Because is there a certain time frame?
Usually, the rule of thumb is you don't want to refinance less than 6 months.
Gotcha. Okay, less than 6. Okay.
Rule of thumb is about 6 months.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to know right there, and that's good to know that they're not that much higher on the interest rate.
Yeah,
Sometimes you'll see where some loan programs, I don't want to say punish you, but it's almost like you feel like you are getting punished.
Yeah.
It's because you're considered a higher risk. So what they're doing is they're going to increase that interest rate to offset that increased risk. And so that's good to know that y'all's loan programs that y'all offer really aren't doing that as much. I mean, it might be a little higher, but I've seen it where you're just like, whoa.
It's better if you were to go somewhere else to try to get the same program or the same parameters quoted somewhere else, they're probably going to quote you higher.
Yeah.
That's the good thing about using a broker is brokers have the eligibility to, we have access to 120 different lenders versus a bank. They typically do in-house financing.
Exactly.
So we kind of have better.
Do you
rates.
happen to know how many y'all have? You said y'all are like the largest.
We have access to over 120 different lenders.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
If
you know the financing world, it's pretty amazing that y'all have that many people. That it's almost like it's like putting a cookie jar and you're like, oh, which one am I going to get today? Yeah, that's awesome.
My rule of thumb is if you can mortgage it, we can do it.
Yeah, hey, there you go. I love it. And so those are some really good programs that I haven't heard about, especially with the land. That's good to know too. Yeah. Now, tell us a little bit about the current turnaround times on loans, because as we all know, time is of the essence when we're dealing in real estate.
So right now my residentials are running clear to close in less than 10 days. On average, 10.
Yeah.
We're closing in less than 30.
That's amazing.
So that's a plus. I always tell my borrowers up front, hey, if you're quick, I'm quick.
Yes, it does pull down to the
If I need
borrower.
something, the quicker you send it to me, the quicker I can get it sent to the lender for approval, So I think right now my shortest turn time was clear to close in 4 days.
Oh, wow. For some reason, I just had a feeling you were going to say 4.
So I'm trying to beat that record.
Yeah. Well, hopefully one of our clients can help you make that
Absolutely.
happen. No, that's pretty awesome that y'all have a clear to close on an average of 10 days. And so now, does that account for you being very involved on multiple levels?
Yes.
Okay.
So the one good thing when you work with me is I'm the one and only main point contact. I literally start your file start to finish. I am your loan officer. I am your processor. I help with the closing, like the full 9 yards.
That's awesome.
Instead of having several different hands in, you just have me.
That's great, because a lot of times people are it's just how it is. People are always relying on, well, I've left a message, I'm waiting to hear back, and so that's great to know that. And plus too, like you said, you've had 15 years of working from the loan assistant to a processor to the officer, to where you really know that process.
Absolutely.
And so I can definitely see why your average is 10 days.
And we've got, you do have sometimes your older borrowers who don't like to share their information with a lot of people in your company.
Yeah, I can understand
So
that.
with me, I'm like, okay, well, you're only sharing it with me and the lender, so it's not like I'm going to pass it around to everyone in the office,
Yeah, exactly.
So that's been a plus. A lot of, especially some of the agents that I've worked with, they've enjoyed only having to deal with me.
Yes.
Because I keep them constantly updated every day. They get at least one text a day from me.
Yeah, it's like a good morning, no news.
Well, believe it or not, I've done that.
Yeah, so people
just so that you know, I'm still thinking about you. I've still got your loan on trigger.
Exactly.
So that's been kind of nice.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. That's pretty impressive. And so it sounds like you got some really good things going on at Edge, and we're excited to use you. And is there anything else? I mean, you've got lots of good info.
I think that's about it.
Yeah, well, that's a lot. So that's great. Well, we're looking forward to working with you. And I can already think of a couple of people and definitely properties that we can even possibly promote loan programs with. So that's awesome. Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you for watching. And I hope y'all learned something. And we'll have her contact information at the end of the video. If you have any direct questions, feel free to reach out to her. Thanks for watching.